It was the most obvious symbol of division in Europe after the Second World War. The Iron Curtain, described by Churchill, was in fact a concrete barrier, 3.5 metres high, protected by watchtowers, the scene of numerous attempts to flee communism. Now, 30 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall, Germans from all walks of life are coming together to reflect on 3 decades of reunification. For one man, the emotion is particularly strong. Joachim Rudolph helped build a tunnel under the wall, enabling dozens of East Germans to escape to the west. Jonah Kalgren reports.
Most dangerous was the digging right underneath the forbidden zone.
It was a bold plan. A tunnel under the guards, the barbed wire, and of course under the Berlin Wall, to help people escape to West Berlin. The American broadcaster NBC was there making a documentary on the project, and it also helped with funding for the tools. Joachim Rudolph, who himself had escaped from East Berlin to the west a few months before, was one of the people working 8-hour shifts in that summer and the autumn of 1962. Digging and digging. And he can still remember exactly why.
We just wanted to help people. But we were also very angry at the GDR and about what they were doing, like shooting at people who were trying to flee. That was something that had hit us hard, and that's why we wanted to do anything we could to harm the GDR.
Dozens of people worked on the tunnel. Most of them had family and friends on the other side. But digging a tunnel was harder than they thought.
We had no idea of how to dig a tunnel, or how you could do it, and at the same time survive.
But then, on the 14th of September 1962, the tunnel diggers broke through the floor of a basement. Joachim Rudolph went outside with a gun in his pocket in case any border guards saw him, to check that it was the right house. It was, so they waited. And then the first family that had been told about the tunnel knocked on the basement door. Their friend who had been digging for months embraced them.
I will never forget that moment. It made a huge impression on me. And I said to myself, it doesn't matter how many more come. Of course, the more that come, the better. But if no one else comes, all the work, all the electric shocks we had from the flooding and the electrical connections for the pumps, the blisters, hitting your head on the wooden supports in the tunnel, all of that was now worth it.
29 people escaped through that tunnel before it was too flooded. And in the decades after, people continued to dig tunnels, swim over rivers, use hot air balloons and anything else they could think of to escape the East German dictatorship. During the 28 years that this wall divided the city of Berlin, thousands of people tried to escape from the east into the west, and many of them, of course, succeeded. But at the same time, at least 140 people died trying to cross into the west. And those people will also be remembered this weekend. This is Jonah Kalgren reporting for Euronews from Berlin.